TV. It's me, the homie B. How's everyone doing today? Today we got Cowboy, man. We got Cowboy speaking on Luce Cannon and Brick Baby, going off on them for allegedly getting Rolling 60 members locked up and Big U. And shout out to Nothing to Something podcast on this clip. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
Going on no jumper and admitting to crimes. They admitted to crimes that they said they did. They went on to say, yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, we did that. Shaquille O'Neal, we did that with this. We did that. We did that, and they start naming off all these big wigs. Oh, really? You did all that? All right.
And you know what's crazy though? A lot of people saying that, no jumper is the feds, no jumper is behind all of these, this Rico with Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, all that stuff. But truth be told, bro, like I always say this, when you go to an interview or a big platform like No Jumper, the Vlads, the Cam Capones, the Say Cheese, you don't have to answer questions, bro. You don't have to speak on nothing, on past or present. You don't have to. You don't have to do nothing. You could skip the question. It's your interview. They're interested in you, so they want to see what you got going on. But all the other street stuff and all that shit's out. They put this amongst themselves. Speaking crazy on these podcasts. So you know, I don't I don't agree that no no jumpers the feds or anything like that. They do ask some fair questions, but like I said, it's ultimately on you to answer it and speak on it. And they openly speak on it too. They do not give a, you know what I mean? Let's get back to it.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm glad them niggas was imposters. I'm glad I never knew them niggas. I'm glad I ain't never had a selfie with none of them clowns. I'm glad all this time saying, man, I've been scratching my head. Who are these guys? You know what I mean? So, hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to fit in, you going to fit right on in. Cell block 10, whatever it is.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also too, bro, I know like when a lot of that stuff was first happening, I was going live and doing my thing and one thing that I wanted to say because it's what I've always seen and what I've always even heard from you. But when it comes down to Big U just letting the people know out there, at the end of the day, this was one of the individuals that was doing something for the community.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't like, just like with Nip, when it come down to you, Big U and others, Black Sam and all, I don't like to see people who I know that's doing things for the community being taken away from the community. That bothers me, and that's one thing I spoke on very strongly, because people may be like, oh well, this person deserves it, not knowing too much of anything, right? But not understanding, how many kids is gonna lose things that they were able to receive, whether that's sports, getting rides to the games, getting charity donations to help pay their parents, their mama's rent or whatever. You know how many things are gonna change in our communities from situations like this, like I don't know, bro. It really bothered me, but since things happen, like I mean, have you, spoke to, Big U, and what's your thoughts on just like somebody, another person, being taken out of the community who was a big part of helping the community?
Oh no, I've analyzed it all. I'm always a thinker though, and Nip not there no more. I'm not down there no more. You was holding it down. You was holding it down. Had had a lot going on. Like I said, now that section valuable. You know what I mean? Now they need that section, so it's bigger. It's big. You
Yeah.
know, it's big. It's deep. You know what I mean? So. I'm sitting back and gonna see how it unfold. You know what I mean? It's definitely deep and it's definitely political.
When you really think about it, man, it's crazy that how much Nipsey was doing for his community and what he was building to make it better You know, he was doing schools. He was, you know, he had the stores. He was giving jobs to people. He was giving, you know what I mean? And it's just like it's so crazy. Like I, you know, with Big U is just kind of hard to say about him because you know he has this murder over his head, and you know he was extorting people and whatnot, and intimidating rappers whenever they touch down in town, and just people in general. You know what I mean? So I can't speak too much about Big U, but I did also hear he had the football program going on. He was trying to also help out for the community, but from I do know I do you know Nipsey is my favorite rapper, you know, from this generation. There's a reason why though, because he was just like, you know, just like everyone knows, he's just a good guy. You know, he's helping his community. He was just well rounded. You know, words of wisdom all the time. And yeah, man, it's crazy. R.I.P. to Nip though, man. The marathon continues.
It's definitely big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's something that you sit back and just watch. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Yeah, it's big. It's big. It's deep. You know, like I said, when you talk about situations like that's what's going on right now, but you talked about it 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 7, 8 years ago, then it's like wow. You know what I mean? Like I said, all this shit that's going on, it was said was gonna happen before it happened. So
Yeah.
that's why, like I said, I sit back, get my popcorn, and watch the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's big.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. But the last thing I want to say is, what do you guys think Nip would have thought about all of this foolery that was going on with Brick Baby and Loose Cannon, the 600s, the Whack 100s? You know, like what would he have thought? Like what? Like who the fuck? Like you know, he would have like who the fuck these guys think they are? Like trying to come to my community. I'm not. Well, I'm just, I'm just saying because he was well known in his community, right? You know, there people have endless stories about Nipsey. You know, they used to call him Young Thundercat. Um, I mean, I'm not okay. Look, I'm not speaking down on Luce, Brick, you know, 600, whatever. Cause I don't know any of these guys. I don't know Nipsey. But I'm just speaking on like you know like Nipsey was like known in on Crenshaw Slauson to be exact. You know, and I guess Brick Baby too. But I don't know much about Brick Baby. But I do know I watch all of Nipsey's interviews. I listen to him speak. I watch people talk about him, and you know and it seemed like he was just a pillar in his community, man. Everyone loved him. So this day and age, what do you guys think that what people would like? What do you think Nip would say about all this shit going on? All right, I'm gonna leave it at that.